You all have a lot of fun things waiting for you. We are getting into grade 5 today. So we are zooming into grade 5. We're going to be on module 5, and we are taking an exploration into volume today. So I'm really excited about that. A couple of announcements here. Hopefully you received the invite that I sent out. Now each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can join me by clicking on this link, or there's another link on Google Classroom from 10 to 10:30 if you need questions answered or if you want to work through some things. So this is every day except for Friday. You can join me 10 to 10:30. I'll just be kind of hanging out in this Google Hangout, and I am there for you to answer questions and help you in any way that I can. So pop in there if you need me. And then tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow you are going to be taking part in the Noetic Math Contest. Your parents should have received an email from the district at this point. So tomorrow I will post all of the information on that on our slides. And then also I did link to the practice solutions in the purple slides today, so you can check that out. Check out your answers after you did the work on yesterday. Cool. And then yeah, today, so we're getting into volume. It's going to be great, great, great. All of your work today is going to be in Google Slides. You can see that you're going to be entering all of your explanations in here. And it should be a great day. I'm really excited about this lesson. Volume is exciting, and we're going to be talking, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that we decompose our prisms, and I coined them the birthday cake slices, the slices of bread, and then chocolate cake. So I'm going to run you through some problems, so stay tuned. Here we go. So you've read through the blue slides. Well, have you? No. Yes. You will read through the blue slides. Maybe you have already. So I just want to remind you, I feel like a lot of us are really comfortable with this. I just want to remind you or bring to your attention that volume refers to having the, considering how many cubes can we fill a space with. The spaces that we're talking about right now are these prisms. We're going to be working with these rectangular prisms for a while. So when we're looking at the volume of a figure, it really is just asking how many cubes does it take to fill that space. So if we're looking here at A, and again, like, don't really pay attention to these instructions. These lessons are meant to be taught in person, which obviously we're not doing right now. And usually in class, we would be building these and like kind of doing a deep dive there, but we're not, and we're being flexible. We're just going to be doing this distance learning style. So let's start with A. So if we are trying to determine the volume of A, we just have to ask ourselves, how many cubic units do we see? Or how many cubic units does it take to fill this space? Well, I just see 1 because it's pretty obvious. There's just 1 cubic unit there. Here's where, well, we'll look at B too. Okay, so we have this amazing figure, and we are trying to figure out what is the volume. How many cubic units does it take to fill the space? One way that we could figure that out is just by counting them. Well, I have 1, 2, on this layer, and then I have 1, 2, 3 on this layer. So the volume of figure B is 5 cubic units. One way that I can figure that out is because I added. Okay, so I'm having some issues with audio, so I'm re-recording audio over this video. This is really funny. So you all can see we're just counting the cubes on each story to see what our total volume for each of the figures is. The only trick with this is that sometimes you won't be able to see all of the figures or all of the cubes in the figure. And so you would just have to think about, do cubes typically float in space. No, they don't. So if you see a cube on the second level, you need to understand that there is a cube below it that is supporting it. Something that we can do here is go ahead and chunk or like circle groups of cubes together, break the figure up into smaller bits to determine the volume of the total figure. So you can see I circled 4 there, and I'm circling 1. And then that is a symmetrical figure, so I'm going to circle another 4, which will show you the volume of that figure to be 9. I'm going to fast forward this. I'm going to take you behind the scenes here really quickly. This is iMovie. And let's see if I remember how to fast forward. So I'm just going to fast forward this because I feel like you all can understand. Here we're doing 2 layers of 6, so the volume is 12, and then here we are doing 2 layers of 10, so the volume is 20. So I feel like the biggest trick here is, I'll just rewind this a little bit, is just to remember that cubes don't float in space. And use our friend Maddie. Maddie says that the figure below, or the figure right here, is made of 1 centimeter cubes, fabulous, and has a volume of 5 cubic centimeters. Explain her mistake. Well, Maddie, first of all, it's okay to make mistakes. I think what Maddie did was she counted the cubes. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I totally understand why you did that, Maddie. Perhaps Maddie was thinking that this cube is a magical floating cube and it's just floating there without any support. Keep in mind, friends, gravity, it's a real thing. Cubes, at least on planet Earth, do not magically levitate above the rest of these without a cube supporting it from below. So I think Maddie might have thought that this was a magically levitating cube and she forgot, boring, that there is a cube below it that is supporting it. So the volume of this structure is actually going to be 6 cubic centimeters. Because, yes, we see 5, but we have to consider, what is the cube that is supporting that single cube on the second level of our structure? Thanks, Maddie, for letting us use your name for this one. I love this lesson. This part is from, so this is grade 5, module 5, lesson 3. I love this lesson because I first taught this lesson when I was pregnant with George, and I will never forget this day. So this was almost, 3 years ago? I remember coming across this lesson, and I was pregnant, and I was always thinking about desserts, and I decided to organize this lesson around desserts and bread, which I was really loving at this time 3 years ago. Okay, so what we're looking at in this lesson is decomposing prisms and figures in 3 different ways. And I decided...
I stayed also.
Oh, did you just have a good nap? You're so sweet. Cal just woke up from his nap. Did you have a good nap, baby?
Yeah.
I decided to coin these 3 different decompositions as a sliced bread decomposition, a birthday cake decomposition, and a chocolate cake decomposition, and I'll show you why. So you're going to, in your independent practice, you're going to be looking at different types of layers in these prisms. One type of layer is like sliced bread. Do you see how this bread is sliced? We slice the bread is sliced like this. Doop. So there was one slice of bread and another. Can you see how I'm decomposing this prism much like you would slice bread? Does that look okay? Okay, cool. So that's one way you can decompose a prism. You can slice it like bread and then you can peel off each of these layers. What we're going to be doing eventually is looking at how many cubes are in each slice of bread. So for this one, you can see that that is 4 cubes. And if all of these were equal slices, in order to determine the volume of this, I would look at, how many cubes are in each slice and how many slices do we have? So that's 1 slice, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the total volume of this would be 28 cubic centimeters, or cubic units, I should say, if we can pretend that these slices are even and there are 4 cubic units in each slice. So that's one way to look at these figures. And keep in mind, like we're taking a big leap now, because now we're invoking our 3-dimensional spatial type of intelligence. This is a part of our brain that we haven't really used much this year, so this is going to take some time. So be kind to yourself and understand that this is a big leap from what we've been doing. So, okay, so slice bread, that's one way to do this. The next way to slice our prisms is like a birthday cake. Do you see the layers of this cake? This is an awesome cake. Do you see how there's very clear layers? So that's another way that we can decompose these prisms. We can slice it like layers of cake, like a birthday cake. Do you see how the birthday cake layers and the sliced bread layers are very different? Here, you can see slices of bread. Here, it's birthday cake layers. So if I had 3 layers, and say we have, I'm gonna try to do my best. Say, goodness sakes, I'm trying to show cubes in this one birthday cake layer. Okay, so if I were to peel off this top layer of birthday cake, do you see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes in that top layer? And do you see how we have 1, 2, 3 layers of birthday cake here? Well, the volume of this one would be 24, because I have 3 layers in my birthday cake, and I have 8 cubes in each layer. So that's another way to decompose these figures, is the birthday cake way. The final way that I would like to tell you is what I call the chocolate cake way. So the chocolate cake way is, I want you to imagine this rectangular chocolate cake. And I don't know about you, but I just want as much cake as possible. So I want to cut this cake so that I have giant slices. And you know how I can do that? I can do what I call a chocolate cake cut. So I'm going to slice just this whole front half of the cake and slap it on my plate. Do you see that kind of slice? Do you see how the chocolate cake slice is very different than the sliced bread or the birthday cake slices or layers? This chocolate cake slice, I'm just going to try to get the biggest pieces possible, and I'm just gonna cut off that front. I'm gonna take this whole front of the cake off. So if I were cutting this cake, I would just take a giant knife, make my cut, and just slap that huge piece of cake onto my plate, and I'm not even going to feel bad about it. So let's think about what the volume could be here. So here I've made 2 chocolate cake slices, and if I had, let's see, if I had 4 cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4, in this front slice, and as you can see, I only have 1, 2 slices in this chocolate cake, the volume of this one could be 8 cubic units. Cool? Okay, so we have 3 different types of slices. They all link with some baked goods, so I think I know a few of you are enticed. I'm gonna go ahead and release you into your practice. Have fun with this. Refer back to these really fun slices and do your best.